Okay, so I showed you the stairs on the front, right? So you guys understand the components of the stairs. And we're going to get into the types of drawings that you need to create to understand how your stairs are going to move through a cube, a three-dimensional space, as opposed to flat like it is on the front board there. So if we look at this, this is just a basic pair of stairs, and I have to think about in my cube where they'll go in and where they'll leave. So if I have my stairs go all the way up to the top here, and I don't have enough room for a door there, or a window, or an opening, I'm going to have to turn and go in the other space, right? So you have to think about that. So as we create stairs, we're going to have to consider that. You're also going to have to think about, this is the front view, the top view. So how does that, where does that land within the cube? Does it go through the whole depth of the cube, or does it just come along one back section or one front section? Or, if you wanted to really get into it, you could go across it diagonally, and that gets even more complicated, okay? So we're going to just start with a basic set of stairs, and then I'm also going to show you guys how to do curved stairs, okay? So there'll be a combination of things that we'll look at. The stairs we're going to do are a little closer to this, okay? So we have a shorter tread, or shorter riser and a longer tread. Okay, and if you remember, what we spoke about is we're going to have 1 inch here and then a 1/2 inch here, just to keep the math pretty easy, right? And we're going to go all the way up as far as we can go. Now, if I were looking at this three-dimensionally and considering how I was going to do it, I would have to also consider, again, what direction it's going to go in. This one is a set of stairs that are kind of stepping in both directions, which is kind of cool. But we'll get into that as we get going. All right. So how do we start? Actually, I need a triangle too. So you guys have a long strip of paper. It should give you plenty. We're going to start kind of just using this bottom edge. And we're going to go up a 1/2 inch and then over and then up and over and measure. Now, I told you guys you could use a triangle with a 90-degree corner, and that will be helpful. But you don't absolutely need it. You can also measure using the grid that you have in front of you, okay? So you have a grid on, everybody on their Cut Safe mat has a grid, right? So you can use that as well, or you can use measuring. So you have lots of options. Does everybody have a ruler? Because I have a couple of extras up here if anybody needs one. Okay. Very good. So my grid, actually, let me get one more, hold on. Okay. So if you happen to have a Cut Safe mat that has 1/2 inch increments, then you can use it. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. Okay, you're just going to start by measuring over. Now, in the rulers, depending on the ruler that you have, you'll notice some of these have these more micro measurements. And we don't want to bother with that, okay? It's easier to see the measurements kind of out here. So you can use the other end of the ruler as well. So there's 2 ways to do this. So if I want to go 1/2 inch and then 1 inch, I can line the corner of my paper up with the grid. And then right here is 1/2 inch. And I can just use those 2 points and draw a line. And then go 1 inch. And so forth. Now, if you have to measure, if you do not have that, remember, whenever we've measured anything, we always measure it 2 times. So 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, right? And then I would draw a line. And then up to 1 inch. I like using the grid because I think it's easier. But again, I think all you guys have that, don't you, or no? Have the 1/2 inch? Some of you guys have the 1/2 inch increments. So you can share 1, 2. You guys don't, you can, just for this measurement part, you can share it. So you can see I have a thin line, a thick space, a thin space. And then if I were measuring, if I didn't have the grid to work off of, I would just measure 2 times so that I make a parallel line. So it's 1/2 inch and inch, just to keep it easy. Okay. Now, how many stairs do you want to go out? Not 2. So if we have inch halves, that'd be 1, 2, 4, 5. If we go 5 steps, it'll get you like halfway up your cube, the height of your cube. So let's do 5 steps. Once you guys get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 risers, you need 5 risers, you're going to flip this over and measure on the back side precisely the same way. So if you started with a riser, which is a 1/2 inch, right, then you want to start with a riser on the back, which is 1/2 inch. Okay? And you redo all your measurements in the same way. All right, so guys, put a little F for front on the front side, and just watch how I flip this. As I flip it, it should be exactly the same on the back. Okay, and put a B on the back so you know what's front and what's back. Okay. Now, what we have to figure out is where we score both of these, because we have to score these, and we'll cut them at 2 inches. I'm not worried about that at this point. Okay. So when you think about how this is going to bend up and then go over and then bend back, we're going to start with a tread. So I'll put a T on the wide side that's the tread, right? Okay. And then you want to make sure that we score to the left of the tread. So I need your eyes up here. I need phones away. Okay. You want to score on the front side to the left of the tread, and you want to score on the back side to the right of the tread. So I'm going to go like this. Score. I don't want to score here, so I'm going to skip 1. Score. Skip 1. Score. Skip 1. Score. 1. Score. Because we're going to be bending it this way. So the score's got to be on that top side, right? So on the other side, we're going to be bending it in the other direction, so the score's got to be on the back side. So if we flip this, and again, I put a T, I want to score on this side on the back side. So then I'm going to go score, skip a space, score, skip a space, score, score. And this one I'll cut, so I'm not worried about that. So I'm going to say that one more time so you guys have it, okay? So where the tread is, the tread's larger. I make it larger so it makes it visually easier. On the front side with the F, we score to the left of the tread. So if this is a tread, this is a tread, this is a tread, this is a tread, we're scoring on the left side. Okay, on the back side, we're going to score to the right. Okay, now you guys remember scoring being just partially cutting through, right? Just a little bit. So that's what we're going to do with this. We again need our ruler or a straight edge. You can use your triangle. And you want to make sure you're scoring where there's a little S, because you've labeled it. It's okay to label it. Make sure your blade's tight. And we're just going to scrape this down here. Make sure you ride it right up against this. Okay? My blade is terrible, so I'm going to get a different one. And then you're going to skip a line, go to the next one with a little S on it. I know the gloves make it slightly awkward, but it's worth it. Your fingers are all worth it to me. And just a gentle cut, partial cut, almost just like scratching the surface. Making sure you're right on your pencil line. And go all the way down. All the way down. All right, then we're going to flip it and do the same thing on the back side. So right here at the end, and it doesn't matter if you did it from the front or the back, I'm just going to cut that off because we don't need that anymore. Okay. I will put another B here so I know that this is B back and this is F front. So once you've done this and you've scored, you should be able to fold these really nicely back and forth right on your pencil line to create, ooh, my scores came out a little off. Yes. Yeah, I just said you can cut that off. You can cut it off. So you have something that looks kind of floppy like this. And now we need to make the support for this. Okay? Because this in and of itself is kind of like stairs, but not totally, right? So if I were making a support for this, how many do I need? How many supports do I need going across this, do you think? At minimum. No, just two. Just two. One on either side. If they were real actual stairs, you might need one down the middle. You know, but these are just paper stairs. Okay. So the next step is going to be taking those measurements and making them into a staircase. So now this is where your triangle comes in. Again, we're going to line it up here. And we want to start here at the 1/2 inch because that's where that 1/2 inch is going to line up. And then we want to go over 1 inch. But we have to be 90 degrees. Okay? So if you're using a grid, I need you guys listening at this point. If you're using a grid, you can line up the lines on either side of the paper, right? So that you know that it's 90 degrees. And then you come over to 1 inch. Okay, and actually if you have a grid, you guys could tape your paper down while you're doing this so that it doesn't move if you're working off of a grid, which I think I'm going to do so it doesn't slide around on me. And I'll just tack it right on the corners up here so it doesn't move. Okay? And then I'm going to come up here and do 1 inch, just up a 1/2 inch. And it's okay if your lines are a little long in this. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here and go up one more step, which is 1/2 inch, because our riser is 1/2 inch. I go over 1 inch. And then I'm going to take a step 1 inch over in this direction. And I'll go up. I'm just making my lines a little long, up a 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to take this back again. So I want to keep going. How many times do I have to go? How many risers do I need? You guys remember? How many risers do we make on the stairs? 5, right? So I need 5. So each time I go up, I only go up 1/2 inch, but each time I go to the right, I go over 1 inch. Does that make sense? I gotta watch the time. Okay. And again, the grid is the best way to go, but if you want, you can measure these out using a triangle. Remember, I taped down my piece of paper so it wouldn't slide around. And then I can just follow this grid back and forth. And that's an easy way to create my support.
So my counselor just emailed me that I have to take MCAS, which I just moved here.
Oh, good grief.
So I have to
Okay. So if you need 2 of these supports on either side, it might just be easy. Like I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 risers, right? That's all I need. It might be just easy to step it back down. You could cut it out and trace it, but I don't think that's quite as precise. So I'm going to just go over. I know that this is my 1-inch mark right here. So from here, I'm just going to go over and then step it right back down. You can do it any way you want, but I think this is an easy way to do it. So right on that tape line. Okay. You're really following all of the same lines you just did. So make it easy on yourself. Okay. Use that grid. You will have to cut it in the end. You want to draw it out first.
I actually wanted to do it for myself to make sure I could do it. So what we're doing, we're making this be our riser. This will be the package. Oh, I thought it was
This will take a couple more minutes and then we can have some time to 3D print at the end. We can start the 3D prints. I may scoot my printer into the other room so that it can run while there's other classes going. You're back?
Yeah, they didn't have a session.
Hey, and you're back. They didn't have a what?
A test for my so they have to order it.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
I mean, I don't have anything right now, so that's
So I'm making a video recording of this.
Okay.
I would try to
this will be our landing.
see how far you can get with it. Okay, sorry. I'm recording right now, actually. So I'll get it set up, and so you'll probably be able to make it up either during a flex block or because everyone's going to have to do these little stair sets.
These are these.
Yeah.
Oh! I'm supposed to my English quiz during class. I forgot about it.
All right. So from here we can cut these out. If you guys want to cut them out with X-Acto blades, you can. Guys, could you hold off your conversations, please? If you want to cut them out with scissors, you can. If you feel comfortable with that, that's fine too. So, you guys, if I could get your attention, my people at this table, just for a second, please. So, if you want to cut it with scissors, it's a lot easier and faster, but just give yourself like a really loose cut around this outside edge, and then you can access these stairs like this, and then come in like this. All right, and that's just a nice fast way to cut it. All right, so I have these going up and down, but I have to divide them in half in order to have two supports that go like this. They should match like this. And then they get attached to the actual stairs like this. So they should match up size-wise. and fit in there like that. All right. So that's, and what we'll do is we'll take tiny pieces of tape, and you can use masking tape or, you know, whatever I've got over there. And you're going to set that tape along the edge here. Okay, make it neat. So cut it trim like that. And this is, remember, this is just an exercise to get us going. I have some fancier white tape for our final project. But just to attach this to this section, you're going to bring it right up to that corner, right there, and bring it over. And then you let the riser kind of tuck in, and then you bring that next piece of tape over. So you do that all the way down on both sides, okay?